So I got this comment on my last video, and the person suggested that I play a coastal game where I can only take land that is also along the coast, eventually making a long, snaky empire. I then got another comment, which I forgot to save, but it said something like I should play a game where I have a huge multicultural empire and show how I go about dealing with all the factions and rebellions that arise because of this. The thought of a massive multicultural coastal empire really only draws one parallel, and that is the ultra powerful empire of old, Carthage. So today we will be recreating the ancient Carthaginian empire in the medieval realm building sim that is Crusader Kings 3. So considering we plan on taking land all along the coast this game, I think it would be kind of interesting to try and create a medieval version of the ancient Carthaginian empire. Because of this, I'm going to start as this kingdom right here, located in northern Africa, because I've been looking at a few maps and I think that this county is the closest thing we have to the ancient city of Carthage. It's been a while since I played a game where we're starting as something other than just a single county or just one barony, so we should have a decent amount of military strength and gold income right from the beginning of this game. However, you will notice that we are currently in a war with the Byzantine Empire. And if you think about it, the Byzantines are the descendants of the ancient Roman Empire, so we kind of are continuing the legacy of the Punic Wars. And for that reason, I think we have to make a few changes to this kingdom here. There we go, guys. How does that look? I think it's much more fitting for our game that we will be playing as the Kingdom of Carthage. I can't currently move my capital here because we're in a war, but the second we finish this war, I will rechange my capital to Carthage. As we do plan on recreating the Empire of Carthage, that means we're going to have to be taking a lot of land along the coast on the Mediterranean. So I'm going to want to stack as many coastal benefits as I can this game, and one way we're going to be able to do that is by forming a hybrid culture with one other culture in the game that has a lot of benefits for coastal play. First of all, let's take a look at our culture. It is a small culture with only 2 or 3 counties, and we do have one cultural tradition which affects our coastal counties, and it's this one right here, which actually gives us +5 advantage in the advantage modifier when I get into battles on the coast. And then we have a couple of other cool things like the Dryland Dwellers, which actually increases our development and reduces the cost of building in drylands. And if I look at the map here, you can see we have a lot of dryland terrain, and that's going to be important because the culture I plan on creating a hybrid culture with is none other than the Dutch. And the reason I want to form a hybrid culture with the Dutch is because they have a couple other cultural traditions which are going to be super good for this coastal game. However, before we can do that, I will have to take a piece of Dutch land, and right now, all the Dutch land is either in the Kingdom of West Francia or the Kingdom of Lotharingia, and currently you can see both those kingdoms are quite strong, so we'll have to wait until maybe they get a little bit weaker, but we build our strength up a bit also before we can start taking land from them. But to start out, we have a war of our own to think about, and it is the next segment of the Punic Wars for the rest of Sicily here against the Byzantine Empire. And you can see the Byzantines are quite strong themselves. They have almost 6,000 men. So it really pains me to do this, but I think we will actually have to surrender this war. I could form a couple of alliances because we do have secondary spouses available to us playing as an Ashari Muslim character. The only problem with that is you can see we actually spawn in with negative 150 prestige. And since this is actually an offensive war on our part, it would cost me prestige in order to call in our allies. So for this reason, I don't think we would have enough prestige to even be able to call our allies into the war, and we don't really stand a chance against the Byzantines, so we'll have to surrender this war. It does come at a pretty expensive cost to us, but what this will let us do is hopefully spend the early parts of this game just slowly increasing our strength and our power so that we can invade one of these 2 counties here and start forming a hybrid culture with the Dutch. Once we are strong enough, we will come back for the Byzantine Empire. So now that I surrendered that war, I can move my capital over here to Carthage. And you can see we already have a small harbors and a barracks built here, which is very nice. I'm going to go for the warfare dynastic legacy as our first one, just because this knight effectiveness is so powerful.
Excellent.
And we do plan on doing quite a bit of wars in the early game. And then for our lifestyle focus, I will actually go down a learning lifestyle with a theology focus because I plan on picking up apostate this game in order to change my religion. Since we are starting as a kingdom, we have access to our royal court right off the bat, which means we can go ahead and hang these banners on the walls, which will get us a pretty healthy amount of prestige and renown. I was actually able to find myself a Catholic wife, and the reason that is important is because if I go to adopt faith from her, you can see we will get an extra 50% off for converting to our spouse's faith. Okay, so now that we got all the early game management out of the way, I think it's ready. I think we are ready to declare war. And for our first war, I'm going to declare on these neighbors to our north, the Sardinians, because this county right here actually has access to a special building, which is a silver mine. And picking up that silver mine will pretty much fuel our war machine this game. Gotcha, bitch! Alright, just like that, you can see we didn't even have to fight them and we already won the war. So enforcing our demands gets us this nice county here. You can see the gold mine itself, we're getting a pretty healthy discount of 112 gold off. And the reason we're getting that is actually pretty interesting. Because this county is technically part of the Sardinian culture, it gets the benefit of them having a communal ethos, which you can see reduces building and construction time by 10%. If we look at our court, we have a spiritual ethos, which means we have access to this administrative court type, and this court type also gives us a further 10% discount into our gold and construction time. So for that reason, we are able to reduce the cost of the first gold mine by over 100 gold. But something else that we can do to also help with this gold mine is try and find somebody who would be a good royal architect. Having even just an average royal architect will reduce our construction time by a further 15%. So we appoint that guy. Take a look at the gold mine. You can see we brought the time down from 3 years to just 21 months. Okay, so it looks like we have our first defensive war that we will have to fight this game for this county over here. And they don't look too strong, but I think they do have some allies. So if I raise my army quickly, hello there, and invade them, we should be able to take their land before they're able to take ours. Boom, so there you go. A quick capture and a quick battle, and we have won the war, and we actually get 70 gold from that, so that's pretty decent. I'm also going to be switching my innovation to this technology here, which actually lets me raise my crown authority. This is going to be really important because without that, I'm not able to get to crown authority of 2, which is what you need to be able to revoke land away from your vassals. And I would like to take this duchy away from this vassal because this is the duchy where my capital is. So I wouldn't be able to make the duchy building in here unless I have that. So getting this tech as fast as possible is going to be pretty important to us. There we go. So right there you can see we finished the gold mine, which now means we are making over 8 gold per month already. Okay, so I just picked up apostate, so let's see how much faith it would cost in order to convert to Catholicism. And look at that, the total cost is now only 1,200. So I think if I go on a pilgrimage to Mecca, once I have a little bit more gold, it should get me enough faith in order to convert. Oh man, look at this. So I went to have a look at Lotharingia to see if they're falling apart, and they look quite messy right now. They're currently in like 4 wars of their own, and their military strength is not overly high. So I think we might actually have a chance to take one of the Dutch counties away from them. Here we go. I managed to find the county of Holland. Wow, and look at this. Even with our entire military raise right now, we are still making 8 gold per month. That is so good. Okay, so we hit 100%. I'm pretty happy with that because we didn't actually have to fight them in too many battles, and that's good because they had a lot stronger military than me. So I was kind of able to just run in and take this piece of land and then sit on it without them taking it back. So what this allows me to do now is if I go over here, you can see we can grant this to a local Dutch noble, and that will start the cultural dialogue between the Dutch people and the people of our culture. So now if I go over to my council and I put my steward on to promote cultural acceptance, you can see he will now be making us 0.93 in terms of our cultural acceptance per year. So you can see now the total will be going up by 1.3 around. To be able to form a hybrid culture, we do need to get this to 40. So it will take a bit of time, but if I go around and take some more land and then grant that to other Dutch people, it'll actually increase the cultural acceptance speed a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to do a holy war on these guys to our west. I also just picked up the technology that lets me upgrade my crown authority. So I'm going to do that, and you can see we do have room for one more holding. So I'm going to go ahead and revoke this secondary castle I have in Carthage, because that'll just net me an extra domain, which will make me stronger in terms of military, in terms of gold income. And since it's also on the coast, I can build another trade port in there, and it'll mesh really well with the trade ports in my capital in order to get the development up as fast as possible in Carthage. Here we have a Liberty faction rising up against me. I could get rid of this by just lowering our crown authority, but since this vassal is actually part of it, who I want to take the duchy away from him, I actually will accept that and go to war with them, because although they are quite strong, if we are able to win this, we can put him in jail and I'll be able to revoke his duchy quite easily. So I just granted this land over here away to a couple more Dutch people, and now if we look at their culture, you can see we're going to be gaining 2% cultural acceptance per year now, because we have this plus 0.5 from vassals. I'm also going to be calling in our allies, who we made an alliance with Egypt actually. So hopefully they'll enter our war and help us get rid of these angry vassals. Boom, there we go. So we actually captured him. And that brings us to 100%, so I'll enforce our demands, and now we get them all in our jail. So you can see if I click on this guy, go to revoke his title, I can now revoke this duchy from him, which is the duchy where my capital is, so we always want to hold that personally. Our character is pretty old, and you can see here our land will be splitting up quite a bit on our death. However, we will get 3 holdings to ourselves. So I think we will probably be strong enough in order to fight off our brothers. But I think the first thing I'm going to do is actually convert to Catholicism, because I can't put it off anymore. My character might die and I won't have all this beautiful piety anymore. So you can see a good amount of my vassals will join us. However, some that won't are actually in jail, so we can always convert them before releasing them from prison. So there you go. Now we are the Catholic region of Carthage. And look at this, right away we can ask the Pope for 359 gold, just for the cost of 250 piety. See, this is why it is just so good to be Catholic. I bought a few more men-at-arms because when my character does die, these will all go to my heir. So we want to make sure, oh, speaking of my character dying, so we want to make sure this character is going to have a stronger military than my brothers. So you can see one of my brothers is here with 600 military, this one has 400, and then this one over here only has 300. I'll try revoking this piece of land with a 36% chance, because there's always a chance he accepts, and it looks like he didn't. So unfortunately that does mean we are now at war with pretty much all my vassals, and for that reason I will go down the military tree to help us out in this war. And you can see we do have a lot of vassals rising up against us. Oh shit! But they're all split up right now, so if I can get some early stack wipes on them, we have a good chance of surviving this war. Boom. Oh man, look at that. We actually just got the main brother was leading that army himself, so we were actually able to capture him. So now if we enforce our demands, you can see we have all these guys in jail. That is so perfect. I guess I will get to work revoking Yoink. All the land for my brothers and sisters. Yoink. 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 We probably do have low control in all these areas, but that's also why I decided to go down the authority focus, because that'll actually net us another little bit of control. You can see in this county where we are increasing control, we're going to be making 2.4 per month, which is really high, so that'll get up to speed very quickly. And then some of these other ones we're making 0.5 with no increase, so we should be up to speed in terms of military and gold income in no time. Boom, okay, it looks like we have another defensive war against these guys.
This is where the fun begins.
And they don't look too strong. Again, it's for this county. We have to put these guys down when we get the chance, because they are quite annoying. Boom, and again we can ask the Pope for another 261 gold. Thank you very much. Uh-oh, and it looks like we have some peasants that are mad with us. because we converted, so we'll have to fight them off. Doesn't look like there's too many of them, so we shouldn't have too much trouble. Okay, I finished the first war here, so we get 51 gold from that, not too bad. And then once I attack these peasants over here, we should finish the other one. I think I'm finally ready to declare war on these guys, who already have been bothering me this game.
Nope.
And there you go, we hit 100% pretty quickly, and now that is more land we can grant away to some Dutch vassals.
What?
No. So it looks like the Norsemen are trying to invade my my Dutch county that I took a while ago. I could pay them 800 gold in order to not invade. Well, I guess I do still need it because I am promoting cultural acceptance there. So I guess we will banish them the old-fashioned way. So I think our only chance of winning is if we can attack them right when they disembark from their boats, because they'll have the recently disembarked debuff. Wait a minute, what?
Hello there.
They're invading my capital, even though this is not anywhere near the land where they want. Okay. Okay, wow, this is a huge victory for us. So at least we were able to keep our Dutch county up here, so we can continue to increase the cultural acceptance between us, and we just need 7% more and we'll be able to create our hybrid culture. So you can see we hit above 40% cultural acceptance with the Dutch, so we can finally go ahead and create a hybrid culture. 49 years since the start of the game, so I think that was decently quick considering where we started. I will switch the ethos to bureaucratic, which is the Dutch ethos, because you can see it gives you a bonus to your development growth and research speed. I think this is the perfect name for our culture, considering we're combining the Dutch and Arabic cultures that we were in order to create a new culture for our new Carthaginian empire. So the Dutch had a bunch of good traditions, and of course what we are going to be taking are both this dexterous fisherman tradition, the maritime mercantilism, which buffs our trade ports and also gives us plus 10% tax in all our coastal holdings, which is pretty much all the holdings that are going to be in our empire. We're going to keep the Dryland Dwellers because it boosts our development and gold in drylands and deserts, which we have a lot of. And then for the last three, we're going to keep this tradition, which gets us those really powerful heavy infantry units. You can see right now ours are doing 54 damage. And then we're going to take Podlers, which is an amazing tradition that only the Dutch actually had access to. And this actually boosts all these buildings right here as long as they are on the coastline. This stuff here is good if you're in farmlands, but we don't really have any farmlands, and the debuffs of this are pretty heavy, like plus 1/4 the cost to recruit men-at-arms doesn't really sound good to me. Instead, I think I will take this technology, I will take this tradition that actually boosts our cities. You can see they'll give us more tax development and levies, as well as come a little bit cheaper when we're upgrading the development buildings in them. And you can see we will also discover 6 Dutch innovations. Boom, so there we go guys, we have our new culture. That is going to help a lot because right away we can go for battlements, and it'll actually be done in just 17 years because we have a decently high development in our Neo-Phoenician counties, which right now there's only there's 2 Neo-Phoenician counties, and I'll get working on converting our Carthage county to our new culture, so then I can start increasing the development in here. So I showed you guys the Podlers tech, and this is an example. You can see a normal farms and fields, like if I look at my capital, which still has our old culture, you can see the normal farms and fields just gives you plus 0.5 tax per month. But in this county that has our new Neo-Phoenician culture, you can see the farms and fields actually has an additional bonus of plus 2% tax, and that increases as we go up the tree.
Oh boy, here I go killing again.
Okay, so you can see just there, I took 2 more pieces of coastal land here. So now our Carthaginian Empire is starting to look pretty good. And you can see our total troops went up a ton. We can now have over 8,000 men. So I just finished converting our capital to the new culture. And I'm going to go ahead and build a 3rd castle in this holding. Also, I can now start increasing the development in our capital now that I finished converting it. And you can see we will be gaining plus 5.4 development per month. And that is huge, mainly because we have all of these nice fishing buildings. You can see we're getting plus 30% from our fishing buildings. And you can also see that now that we have converted this county, we are now getting this nice extra tax in all the buildings in it. Like over here, if I take a look at the pastures, you can see this also has some added benefits, which is very, very nice.
Nice!
If you look up here, you'll notice that we are actually the 4th tier of level of devotion, meaning we can do holy wars for entire kingdoms, and I think the perfect place to declare a kingdom holy war is Egypt, because we would get all this beautiful coastal land in one war, and it only costs us about like 500 piety, so it is quite a good deal for us. Egypt themselves aren't even that strong. They have a couple alliances, but only around 3,000 men, so I'm not even sure if we need a full army to invade them. I'll maybe start with a local army of men-at-arms and just see how much damage we can do. Oh, it looks like I can actually invite our Catholic Holy Order Knights into the war. We don't need them because, like I said, Egypt is pretty weak, but it looks like we can actually use them to defend right here. So that's pretty big. And look at them trying to take our capital. What do they think they're doing?
Nope.
My super powerful army of men-at-arms is just marching up the Egyptian coast, taking land the entire way.
Nope.
There you go, 100% in the war with the Egyptians. So if we enforce our demands right here, look at that, we have a ton more land. That is awesome. They are kind of awkwardly split right in between us, but we should be able to take that once our truce with them runs out. You'll notice we have 30 of 9 holdings right now, because since it was a holy war, we get all of these personally. So I think what I'm going to do is just go around to each duchy, create it, and then grant that whole duchy away.
Boom, bam, bop, bada bop, boom, pow.
Oh boy, see, this is the problem with taking entire kingdoms at once. You get a lot of populist factions forming against you, especially when I am Catholic and the land we just took is all Muslim. But I don't think we'll have too much of a problem getting rid of these guys. What I've decided to do is I'm going to keep this duchy here, the Delta Duchy in Egypt, because you can see all this land has the floodplains terrain type, and floodplains gives you a bonus to your development growth. But remember, when we formed our hybrid culture with the Dutch, we picked up this. I'm not sure if I want to keep agrarian or not. Oh no, we didn't take agrarian. So what I was gonna say was we kept agrarian, but I forgot we got rid of agrarian. So what I am going to do is hold these because they have floodplains, which give you increased development growth, but then if I pair that with agrarian, it'll be really nice and have even more development growth and reduce the cost of building buildings in here. These here actually, since they're on coast and in floodplains, and if we get agrarian, they should actually have some really, really nice stacks going on. Okay, here are the peasants coming to rise up against us. There's a pretty decent amount of them. 12k? That is not bad, I'm not gonna lie.
Surprise, motherfucker.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
There we go, 100%. Wow, 650 gold from the Pope this time. That is so awesome. We just went from negative gold all the way up to 571. Also, the good thing about the floodplain terrain type is we can build the camelry buildings in these counties. So that pretty much is going to give us an extra knight per building for tier 1. We also unlocked battlements, so we can upgrade all of our castles now in our territory. So if I go to my castle here, you can see we get a pretty healthy discount on this, and then it'll take only 2 years Actually, let's see if we can get this lower because we probably don't have a royal architect. So we'll hire this guy. And now look at that, 8 months to upgrade our castles. That's going to be super quick and we're going to gain a ton of strength from it. Guys, I messed up. So as this character, I had saved up 7,500 prestige because I was planning on diverging our culture in order to replace this tradition with agrarian, which you can see costs this much. But I forgot that I actually needed to put our culture in one of the counties with farmlands or floodplains. So that was kind of a major L on my point. You can see we still have 6 years to go in order to put our culture here. But I guess as this character, hopefully we will be able to save 7,000 prestige and then I can do it with him. It looks like we have a Liberty faction that's going to have enough strength to be able to challenge us. One thing I could do is you'll notice I have room for 1 extra holding. So I can revoke my secondary castle in my capital from that guy to bring us to 10 of 10. And now that we've done that, I don't really need to be at 2 crown authority, so I can drop it down to 1. And you can see that will disband that faction, and now we can go back to living peacefully. The Umayyad Empire to our north is looking really weak. You can see they have negative 240 gold and only 700 men, so I'm going to take advantage of that and declare war on them for this northern part of the Mediterranean as we make our way into Europe. Alright, so we picked up that whole duchy there. Very nice. You'll notice here that we have a lot of sons, so our land would split a ton on our player's death. So that's why I'm kind of trying to rush in order to get a empire, so at least my land won't split completely if I die. In the meantime, something I could do is look if any of my sons would want to either join a holy order or take vows in order to become a monk. And actually, it looks like this son has 100% chance of accepting, so we can get rid of him very easily. Just like that. And these 2 sons right here, I put this one on a martial education, so hopefully he'll join the holy order, and then this one I put on a learning education so he can become a monk as well. Okay, I'm just finishing up another war here in Spain, where you can see we are greatly increasing the size of our territory. These wars in Spain are good for us for 2 reasons. The first one being, every time I do a new holy war for a duchy, I get to create that duchy. And that's netting me some more prestige, because again, I want to get to 7,500 before this character dies. But what it is also doing is increasing the general size of our kingdom, because we need to have 80 or more realm size to create our very own empire. So after a couple more wars here in Spain, I think we should have a big enough kingdom to do that. In these counties where we have the Egyptian culture, you can see we're getting a huge discount on our buildings. We're actually getting 48%, mainly because the Egyptians already have the agrarian technology. It is good value for me to go over here into all the lands where we have this and buy and spend some money on these buildings. Okay, this is getting out of hand. The Pope will now give us 800 gold every time we ask. That is so much.
Cheers, Mum, for the money.
Okay, so you can see right now with our armies replenished, we are making a total gold income of 43 per month, which is quite good. But since we just unlocked manorialism, if we go take a look into our counties, you can see we can now upgrade all of our economic buildings all the way to tier 4, because I have been upgrading our castles to keeps already. So I'm going to go ahead and start doing that. So remember, we're making 43 gold per month, and then we will come back. After all the building upgrades are done, and then see just how much we're making. So I haven't quite finished upgrading all the buildings in the lands where we have, but I did upgrade these in Egypt to keeps, and you can see we did upgrade quite a few of the buildings in there, and our gold has went all the way up to 60 per month. And not only did our gold income skyrocket, but our troops did as well. Our troops should replenish now to 17.5 thousand men. Alright guys, so we finally hit 7,500 prestige, which means we can go to reform our culture. Now it's going to make my men-at-arms more expensive, but I think we have quite enough money where that doesn't really matter. And these benefits are just really going to help with all of these beautiful castles that we have in floodplains. Alright guys, you'll see a beautiful pop-up here, which means we now have enough gold, prestige, and piety in order to found a new empire. Look how nice this looks now with our empire crown on our capital, making us now the true Carthaginian Empire. Look how nice that is on the map. Damn. Alright guys, I just got the notification telling us that we're going to die in a year. We have a lot of health bonuses, but I think it's really mainly the gout that our character has that's going to kill him. So he will end up dying here, and we got rid of a few of our sons through different ways, but we still have one son who's actually going to get the whole kingdom of Egypt, which includes all of our lovely counties here that we worked so hard to get. But I think I have a way of getting our land back, so we'll have to see when that happens. Alright guys, there it goes. So it looks like we just died. As you can see now, it is our brother who is in charge of this kingdom. But you can see we are currently his primary heir because he only has one daughter. So if we go and run a murder scheme on him, not request excommunication. So if you run a murder scheme on him, you see we have a very good chance of this going through as is, but I won't take any chances, and I'll actually invite some people here because we have enough money to do that. So this should bring it up to almost 100%, and it should be done relatively quickly. I also successfully converted the culture in our Sardinian county with the silver mine, so now we can upgrade the castle here, and then we'll be able to upgrade all the buildings, including the silver mine itself. And I'm pretty sure the silver mine, yeah, it goes up by 2 whole gold per month, so that's going to be very helpful. It looks like the scheme got exposed, but we're still at 75%, and can we actually still bribe people to get that back up to 100? And we can, so even though the scheme is exposed, we're still ripping 95-95. Is this a savage play? I'm actually going around to my brother's current holdings and upgrading the buildings in them so that they're ready for when we get them back. Okay, so here we go.
Kill him. Kill him now.
And perfect. And you can now see we are holding 13 domains on our own. Okay, we successfully embraced agrarian, which means now we should see an extra bonus here. Oh no, right here. So you can see we get the extra bonus of having plus 30% to our development growth in all of these counties with floodplains in them. But also it will be a lot cheaper for us to buy buildings here. So now you can see we get another 20% discount to buying all our buildings in these floodplains. So it's just going to stack very nicely for all 4 of these castles I have in these floodplains territories. Okay, so right here you'll see we just unlocked household soldiers, which raises the amount of men-at-arms we can have. And I think what I'm going to go for my second, for my next group of men-at-arms is more siege units. You can see we have a pretty well-rounded army right now, but I like to have 2 regiments of siege units just because, so I can have 2 armies going around and taking land. So now we have a pretty decently sized army in terms of men-at-arms. You can see we will replenish to over 20,000 men. Okay guys, so now that we are a beautiful empire, we have a huge military, tons of gold income, I think it is about time. I think it's about time we go out of this video with a bang. And the way I plan on ending this video is with a double war against the true enemies of Carthage. We all know that Carthage fought against Rome in the Punic Wars, but in the age of CK3, you can see there's kind of 2 Romes that exist. There's the Byzantine Empire, who are direct descendants of the Western Roman Empire, and then, of course, there is the Pope, who has his capital in Rome. So I think what we are going to have to do is declare a war for Rome, so we can take the capital, and at the same time declare a war on the Byzantiums for the rest of Sicily here, which is, I think, where either the first or the second Punic War was fought for. So I think it would be pretty fitting for us to take back this land and also sack Rome at the same time. I think what I'm going to do is run around with 2 stacks. I have to make sure both of them have onagers. Okay, so our armies are ready. I think it is about time we sail over to Rome. I'll bring both my armies into Rome first. Boom. So we got a very nice victory against Rome there, and I think we should move in for the capital now. Now they do have a high amount of walls here, but you can see we have a very large siege progress because I do have 160 total onagers, and look at that with quickly taking the capital. We actually hit 100%. We got the Pope in our jail, and we now get to take Rome for ourselves. Look at this. Okay, so now that Rome is under our control, I think we should go over to the Byzantines. And look at this, they're trying to take our land. What the heck? We gotta stop this from happening. Oh man, it looks like they're actually in a ton of debt because they don't have enough gold income to support the raising of their whole armies. So this should be a very easy spank for us here. Look at that. And are they gonna run in with their other army? Oh, it looks like they will, but staggered. Oh my goodness. Oof. So we actually stack wiped 4k in the first battle, and then we killed another 3,000 men right after that. Look at this, I have my 2 armies sieging at the same time. That is so satisfying. Alright, so I took all of Sicily. I think I should finish this war by sailing right into Constantinople and sacking it. Byzantium has even stronger walls than Rome, but they will fall just like Rome had fallen. Oh, there we go. We took Constantinople. We get a few artifacts from that, which is quite fun. And I think they managed to take back my land here in Sicily, so we're gonna have to go over there and stop them again. And there we go, we actually captured the Emperor of the Byzantines, so that brings us to 100% in this war as well. I'll go ahead and enforce our demands. So now we have become the true Carthaginian Empire by winning battles against the Pope and the Byzantine empires, truly destroying the legacy of the Roman Empire. Alright guys, I think that's it for this video. I hope you really enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.